Today I'm cooking a chicken dish with vegetables that my mother used to make when we were growing up. The ingredients that you will need are 2 pounds of fresh boneless chicken, 1 dry pint of cherry tomatoes, 3 cups of yellow squash sliced, 3 cups of zucchini sliced, 3 Vidalia onions diced, olive oil, a shake flour, 4 cups of whole milk, 1 3/4 cup of chicken stock, unsalted, 1 cup of instant brown rice, and my dry ingredients today are 1 tablespoon of garlic and 1 tablespoon of basil, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground pepper. So let's start cooking. The first step in making your chicken is you will need to pour at least 5 tablespoons of olive oil into a non-stick skillet. And the reason I'm using this much olive oil is we are going to be retaining the oil to make a gravy with. So the next thing that I'll be doing is I'm turning my stovetop to medium-high because I will be browning the chicken on either side. And next, you will see me salt and pepper the chicken, and I'll be doing this to both sides. And when I'm browning the chicken, I'm going to be browning each side for approximately 4 minutes. So you will see me place the chicken into my skillet, and I'll let you see what the chicken looks like when I turn it over. And I am letting the skillet heat up, and I'll be cooking the chicken to an internal temperature of 170 degrees or until it's done. So now you are seeing me place the chicken into my skillet. And next, I'm going to be seasoning the other side of the chicken. And again, I'm just using sea salt and ground pepper for this. There we go. And now I'm going to let the chicken brown, and I'll let you see what the chicken looks like after it has been browned. And the next skillet that you see is just an empty skillet. I'm going to be adding my vegetables to the skillet, and we're going to stir fry our vegetables while our chicken is cooking. So just a second, and I'll show you how to do that. Our second step in making the chicken with vegetables is I'm pouring about 2 tablespoons of oil into my skillet. And I'm going to make sure that my skillet is coated on the bottom. And the next step is I'm turning my heat on to medium-high, and then I'm going to lower it a little bit after it starts to cook. But I'm adding my onions to the skillet because we are going to stir fry our vegetables. And this is a process where you have to make sure that you are coating your vegetables and keeping the heat high and constantly moving your vegetables in the pan so they are not going to get too brown. And the onions will have to cook probably for about 3 minutes. And then I'm going to be transferring each set of vegetable into a larger skillet because we are going to be making a large dish, so it needs to be able to accommodate all of our ingredients, and we're going to simmer everything for 15 minutes once everything has been sauteed and stir-fried, however which term you would like to use. So I'm waiting for my skillet to heat up a little bit more. I'm starting to hear the onions starting to cook. And you can see that my chicken is starting to sizzle. The underside is starting to become a little bit white, and I'm just watching to make sure that when I turn it, that it will be brown, because I don't want to turn it too many times, because you don't want your chicken to cook. Or I'm going to turn the chicken when it is brown, and then you will be able to see the bottom side once I flip it. And then I'll be cooking it for an additional 4 minutes, or until it is internal temperature of 170 degrees. So right now I am sauteing my onions, and I'm going to take the onions out of the skillet once they are translucent or clear looking in appearance. Alright, I wanted to show you what a beautiful brown color the chicken is, and I have turned it over, and now I'm going to cook the underside for an additional 4 minutes, and I'm going to then transfer the chicken to a larger skillet. Alright, our chicken is done, and so now what I wanted to show you is I have a 5-quart pan or skillet that I will be transferring the chicken to, and I'm going to be also placing our onions in the skillet also. So you won't be able to see me place the chicken into the skillet, but I wanted you to see the underside of the chicken, how pretty it is. So I'm just placing the chicken in first. Here we go. And next, I'm going to be moving my pan off to the side, because I will be using the oil to make a gravy with here in a few minutes. Our onions are done. So I wanted you to see the onions, and I'm just going to place the onions over the chicken. And again, the last step in this process will be for me to make the gravy, and we'll be placing the gravy in the skillet, and we'll be letting everything simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes on low to get everything meshed together and all the spices. Next, I'm going to be placing approximately 2 tablespoons of oil in the bottom of my skillet. And I'm going to be moving the oil around the bottom, and I'm going to be placing our zucchini into the skillet. And what you'll have to do is make sure that all the zucchini are coated with oil. My skillet is very hot, and I'm going to be tossing the zucchini in oil, and then I'm going to gradually start adding my oregano and garlic. And after I've sauteed the vegetables for about 3 to 4 minutes, I'll be transferring them into my skillet. And then we will move on to our squash, and we will be preparing our squash the same way. So I'll come back and let you see how the zucchini has been browned and sauteed. Alright, my zucchini has been evenly coated with olive oil, and I'll just tip the pan up, and you can see that it's starting to brown nicely. And I'm getting ready to add the garlic powder and the basil, And I just want to make sure that I get enough basil and oregano, excuse me, I want to make sure that I get enough basil and garlic throughout the zucchini. So I'm just going to toss it to make sure that all of it is getting coated. And I'm just going to do it to the other side. So I just wanted to show you how I'm just sprinkling it on. And next, I'm going to be transferring it to my skillet. So I'm going to do that next. And I'm getting ready to move on to sauteing my yellow squash. Okay, I wanted to show you that I have now placed the zucchini on top of the chicken and the onions. And next, what you will see me do is I'm pouring olive oil into my skillet, and we are going to be sauteing and slightly browning our yellow squash. And this is a very beautiful dish once you have everything cooked. And I'm going to again evenly coat my yellow squash with the olive oil. So that's what you're seeing me do next. And I'm going to let this cook for about 3 minutes. And I'm going to then start adding my spices to the yellow squash. So I'm going to let this cook just for a few minutes, and you will see me next start to make the gravy, and I'm also going to be making brown rice at the same time. Alright, I wanted you to see the yellow squash is almost done. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle the squash with the basil and the garlic. And I'm just going to turn it, and I'm going to add more to the underside. And then I'm going to be transferring the squash to my skillet. Alright, we are so close to being done. So what I'm doing next is you're going to see me pour my chicken stock into my pan. And I'm going to bring the chicken stock to a boil. Then I will be transferring the rice into the chicken stock. So you will see me do that here in a few minutes. And now what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to show you how to make gravy with the remainder of the olive oil and the drippings from our chicken that we have browned. So first you will see me use my shake flour, and again I like using this because it's very easy to make gravy with. And I'm just going to make sure that my flour is mixed in with the oil. And after I do this, you will see me gradually pour our milk into the bottom of the skillet, and I'm going to just add a little bit at a time to make sure that the flour mixture is completely dissolved in the milk. And then I'll gradually add half of the milk. And then when it starts to thicken, I will add the rest of the milk, because you want to make sure that you have enough gravy to cover the vegetables and the chicken, because we will be transferring the gravy into the skillet. And I will show you what the zucchini and the squash look like in the skillet. And right now you will see me add salt and pepper to the gravy. Here we go. And I'm only going to be adding probably 1/4 of a teaspoon of a combined mixture. And also I want to make sure that it has a nice flavor, so I am going to be adding more of the garlic powder with the basil. And again, this is a recipe that my mother used to make when I was growing up. So I'm going to continue to stir the gravy until it starts to thicken. And then again, I'm going to be adding the other 2 cups of milk. My chicken stock is starting to boil, so I will be adding the rice to the chicken stock, and then I will be turning the stove to low, and we will be stirring throughout the cooking process and making sure that the chicken stock is absorbed into the rice. Alright, our chicken stock is boiling, so you will see me add my brown rice, and I'm going to go ahead and cover my pot, and we are going to turn this down to low, and it's going to take about 20 minutes for the rice to be absorbed. I like to cook the rice on low, and next you'll see me just give the gravy a quick stir. And I'm cooking the gravy. I'm going to turn it up to a medium high, and you will see me here in a few minutes add the remainder of the milk. And I wanted to show you what our dish is starting to look like. We've got our squash, zucchini, onions, and our chicken. And the last vegetable that I will be adding to the skillet are the cherry tomatoes, because I don't want the tomatoes to get mushy. So we will just be adding those last, and I will cover the skillet, and we will let the cherry tomatoes cook the last 2 to 3 minutes without tossing them around throughout the mixture. Alright, I wanted to show you how I'm adding the last part of my milk to the gravy. I let the gravy start to simmer. So now I'm just stirring the remainder of our milk into the gravy, and I will let it start to simmer once again, and I will be adding it to our skillet. And once I do that, like I said, I'm going to let that cook covered for about 15 minutes, and the last 3 minutes I'll be placing the cherry tomatoes on the top of our mixture so that they have a chance to cook also. And I'm going to add the remainder of our basil and garlic. And again, you can choose to use more or less of any of the seasoning that I am using today. This is just a very simple dish with multiple steps. And once you've cooked it once or twice, it goes by really quickly. And next, you will see me just stir the rice, and I'm going to let that continue to cook. And I'll be back in a few minutes to show you how I fold the gravy into the vegetable mixture with the chicken and place the lid on so that we can simmer it and let it cook for a few more minutes. Alright, I wanted to show you how I am going to be placing the gravy into my skillet, and I'm going to let this simmer for another 15 minutes to let everything cook together and all of the flavors mesh. And this is the key. This is the key to this dish, is I'm just going to turn my stove top to medium low, and next I just wanted to stir the rice, and I wanted to show you what the rice looks like. And it has probably another 5 minutes to go. There is still a little bit of liquid on the bottom of the pan. So we'll come back in a few minutes, and I will let you see how I place the tomatoes in the skillet. Alright, I wanted to show you how I'm just going to place the tomatoes around the top of my dish. I'm going to let the tomatoes cook just for about 2 to 3 minutes because I don't want them to get overcooked or for them to become mushy. So I'm going to go ahead and place the lid back on my skillet. My rice is done. So in a few minutes I will show you what a wonderful chicken and vegetable dish looks like after a long day at work. I wanted you to see what our chicken and vegetables look like in the skillet before I transfer a piece of chicken and vegetables onto a plate with rice. Well, here's what's for dinner. Our chicken and vegetables are done. I hope you enjoy this dish as much as my family do. Until next time, enjoy.